There you go.
There I am. Hey.
There you go. What's up,
All
coach?
right.
How you doing? How you doing?
Man,
What's up?
trying to be on time, brother. Trying to be
Man,
on time.
and I apologize for being a couple minutes late, man. We know we had that prep hoop senior showcase at Turnstone, so I was there coaching.
Oh, okay.
So we got out of it, man. How you doing? How you feeling?
Man, no complaints, my friend.
Okay,
No complaints.
okay. Mr. Chamble, one of my favorite people in the world. Go ahead and introduce yourself, man. Tell the people what you've been. Give me a little background. Talk to me.
Well, Rod Chamble, originally from Chicago, Illinois. Right now I'm the head coach for Northrop High School basketball. I played basketball at Drake University back in the late 80s. Been involved with kids since I graduated from college. Started out with the Boys and Girls Club, and then I just kind of moved from doing the Boys and Girls Club over to doing community center, and eventually got into the high school coaching, and just kind of been doing AAU and high school basketball ever since. So since I would say since 90 or 91 when I started kind of coaching by myself on a regular basis. So been around the game for a while.
Well, wow, man. Yes, sir. Yes, you have, coach. So with that being said, man, what's kind of like your inspiration to coach? Like, what are you trying to get accomplished with the kids? And we'll get into the Northrop stuff here in a second, but what do you like to get accomplished with the kids, man?
Well, I used to always say to people that, people probably wouldn't follow me if I was inside of a church and I was trying to preach, some things that I felt that was a part of my life. I grew up in the church, but I felt like coaching gave me an opportunity to kind of have my own way of ministering to kids about how good my life has, things from my life has worked out for me and my personal relationship with Jesus Christ. So I've always used it as a springboard to kind of reflect on or tell my story of my relationship. And then, by doing that, it gave me an opportunity to kind of talk to kids about life things and how you got to overcome these life things. And I just use basketball as a platform. And I've just been fortunate enough to be put in a situation where I've been able to have a big influence on young minds for a long period of time. So, what inspires me is seeing young people take some of the messages that you teach them. And even if they don't see it right away, you get an opportunity to see them 5-6 years later. And, they repeat some of the things you're saying. So, man, it feels good to know that you made a difference. I think that's the best way to put it.
Man, that's a good way of putting things, coach. Like, tell me then, and in your AAU dealings, just tell me a little bit about that. Speak upon your little AAU dealings, and basically springboarding into the Northrop situation. So, how did that all come about?
When I first came to Fort Wayne, nobody knew me. I mean, literally, nobody knew me. And so you go from being a household name back in Des Moines, Iowa, to literally nobody knows you. And so I kind of started out just kind of like watching. My son was kind of playing basketball. And then, I would help the coach out from time to time. And then he wanted to play AAU basketball. So that's kind of where I got started. And then over that period of time, I started meeting different guys. And so, we got a saying, game recognized game. So, one of the things that they noticed real quick was that I had some real concepts on defense and how to play offense. And I knew plays, and I knew out of bounds. I knew how to stop people. I knew how to press. And so people started questioning that, like, hey, this guy can actually, he can actually coach.
Right.
And so that's kind of how it started for me. I started out, I coached Rayfield Davis back on his 7th grade team. I moved in and took that team, and we won the national tournament. And that kind of springboarded people to say, okay, who is this guy? It didn't give me no true opportunities right away, but it started bringing my name up.
Right.
And so after that, I kind of got into coaching Indiana Fire which was kids that were good friends with Leander Williams. And so Leander Williams was a kid that I still have a good relationship with. And he was telling me about some of his friends that wanted to play, who ended up being Trevion Cruz and DJ McCall, and Ucha Mitchell, and Jeremy Jones, and My Love Sutton. I mean, Jacoby Claypool. I mean, it goes on and on. Donovan Clark. I mean, it was such a great group of kids. And so, they was hungry for basketball at the time. And it was just one of those situations where I was looking for a group like that to coach. And so it was like a marriage in heaven. And so they wanted to practice every day. It was incredible, man. And, being AAU back then, we didn't really have no rules. You could practice 7 days a week if you wanted to. And we would find any place we could to practice. And so we was practicing all the time. And so those guys started, they weren't just learning basketball things. They were starting to learn me. And so once they learned that I really was somebody that actually cared about the kids, I cared about them going to school, I cared about what was going on at home. And then I also showed them how to play and how to be competitive.
Right.
That's when I started getting noticed. And that kind of changed the game because they would go back to their high school teams and they was over aggressive. They was playing too hard. They was going after people. And, their parents would say to me, man, I'd rather he play that way all the time. And so that kind of like put the word out that this guy here not only is good for the kids, he does a lot for them outside of basketball, but also that, he gets his kids to go out and compete against anybody. And so that's kind of what springboarded me back into the high school game because, like I said before, I coached high school ball back in Des Moines, Iowa, and I was coaching under Bobby Sandquist, who was a legendary coach. And he just taught me so much. He really did. And so he just kind of formatted some of the things I wanted to do, how to practice, how to run a practice, how to run an assistant coach, how to make those guys better. He taught me so much, so I was able to implement those things with Trevion, with Indiana Fire. And so when it came time to go into the high school game again, it was a natural transition for me. It wasn't like it was something new I needed to do. So that's how eventually I came back into the high school game, coming back here and coaching at North.
Yeah. So fast forward now to like the Northrop Bruins. So the Northrop Bruins job opens up and go. Let me know exactly what's going on. Like, how did you end up going and end up doing that situation?
Yeah. So honestly, there was only a few jobs that I said I would ever take as far as getting back into the high school game because I had such a great AAU setup at the time. And Northrop just happened to be one of those two jobs. Okay. And so I said, hey, if that, and so when it opened up, Koeman had just left. I knew Chris K-Mac. I had coached him. I knew Jacoby because he had been playing with me for a long time. And he was leaving. And so when Koeman left, I had a few parents reach out to me and say, hey, you need to apply for this. You would be perfect for it. And so the whole time I'm thinking, AAU and high school is two different things. And I knew that personally. I had did both. So when the opportunity came, the parents kept standing on me saying, hey, especially Ken K-Mac, I give all credit to. He really was real, like, man, you're going to do it. He stayed on top of me about it. And so I went on and applied. I sent in my portfolio, kind of showing all my work that I had done over the years, camps, my philosophy. My portfolio was really well put together. And I sent that over to Northrop. And being honest with you, I didn't know what to expect because I'm not from here. So I didn't know how it would be receptive. And so, they reviewed it, Shank reviewed it. At the time they had a coaching review board that was like making a decision for Northrop. And so, once I get in there and started talking, right away they understood that I had coached before. I knew what I was doing. But more importantly, they also knew what I had been doing with the kids. And so they had got testimony from Jacoby Claypool, and from his guardian. They had got testimony from DJ McCall and his guardian, from Leander Williams. And so they had went down through my kids, and that's basically what I had told them. Hey, you ain't have to take my word for it. Call my kids. If I didn't treat them right or didn't make a difference for them, then I shouldn't get the job.
Right.
You know,
Right.
And so, you know, one thing led to another. I ended up getting the job. So, you know, a lot of people think you just get thrown in there, but as me and you know, you work hard to get every head coach in this city. If you're a head coach at a high school, you work hard to get to here. It's not easy. It's not easy to get to this point, you know. So we've paid our dues. You know, I've done quite a bit, and fortunately, man, I'm blessed with. I'm with a situation with probably that I believe is probably one of the most unique and special environments in the city of Fort Wayne. Being that Northrop is one of those situations where it's not too far north, it's not too far south.
Right.
It's right there in the middle. It's got a great basketball history. It's one of the few schools who have in the inner city who have won state. So it's just a situation where, you know, it was a lot of things in place. It just needed somebody to put some passion in it and get the right people around in that environment to make a difference for the kids and for the program.
Right. So you talked a little bit about, and boy, do I know. Explain to me, Coach, the differences between high school and AAU. What's the difference?
Oh my goodness, gigantic. So in AAU, you know, you may see your opponent, you find out that morning you're going to play. So it's a very short time of preparation. So it's not only that defensive schemes can't really exist because you don't know who you're playing. So if I'm playing a team in high school, I got 3-4 days, maybe 5 days to kind of break down film. I also understand that coach, and so I can plan for him. He can also plan for me. So I not only got to watch what he's been doing, I got to watch what I've been doing, and I got to watch the fact that he has 4 days to work on a game plan. So that means that if there's any weaknesses, I can plan on it and try to expose you that way. Whereas in AAU, it's an offensive game. So AAU is primarily there strictly to show your talent level, your passion, and your character. So it's never really there to show a coach how well a coach can really coach, because you're basically adjusting as time goes, and you're just trying to make real quick adjustments. So it's not really it's not a format for coaches who think they're going to get stronger just doing AAU. I'm a better coach because people keep forgetting I coached high school basketball before I came here. And that's the part that made me so effective with AAU. I had a format. And so because I got a format, I was able to train my kids better, because in high school basketball, you're actually training kids. In AAU, you have to motivate kids constantly motivate them for that moment to overcome this. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like playing chess, you know, on a timer. You know, it's still chess. Well, boy, it's super fast. But in high school basketball, imagine playing chess and there's no timer. There's no shot clock. You see what I'm saying? Somebody can stall you. You know, guy can go out and stall for 3 minutes, 4 minutes, and it's okay. You know, so it's a totally different game, and it requires a totally different part of the mind from a coaching perspective and a player perspective to excel in a high school format. And people get those mixed up. Sometimes they think, well, my kid was so good in AAU, and you go, yeah, who you play? You know, coach ain't really put no scheme out there. They didn't know you couldn't go left.
Right.
You know.
Right. And I think that's the biggest thing that you've taught me, just coming on board at Northrop. The biggest thing that I've learned is there is a huge difference between AAU and high school. And when I first came, my first year at Northrop, I tried to treat both the same, and it's not. It really takes some game plan. It really takes some preparation. It really takes a lot of detail, attention to detail, because like you said, somebody can stall you. You got to know when to trap, when not to trap, like who to trap, who can do what, who don't want to shoot. Like, it's so much more. Like, it's so much more detail. Whereas, like I said,
let me add one more thing to that, Coach. Here's one more thing to that.
Yeah.
So at the highest level, like Indiana Heat, Mean Streets, you can pick all those top programs. Whoever, Ohio Red, Ohio Black. I don't remember all of them. Even, I coach girls right now.
Right.
We pick our team from the best.
Awesome. Yep.
So you got not just role play, you got the best players.
Mm-hmm.
So when you got the best players, it's different than coaching high school when I got a kid who really probably wouldn't make my AAU team, but he can play a role on my high school team.
Mm.
You follow what I'm saying?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And so people have a hard time understanding in high school basketball, your role may be a star or your role may be a shooter, but your role may just be to play defense.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. You follow what I'm saying? They're not going to correlate, to each other all the time. Because you shot and scored 22 points a game in an AAU tournament, no telling who you're playing because, it's so up and down.
Mm-hmm.
But overall, it doesn't transcend over to, here's a good example. Sid played with Mean Streets, with Mac Urban Fire a few years back.
Yep.
He wasn't the star player for Mac Urban Fire.
Nope.
He didn't score that much. He didn't get the ball that much.
No.
He rebound, played defense, and he got to play sparingly.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he comes to the high school, and guess what? He's a star player. He gets touches. He gets the ball a lot. Two different things.
It is.
Night and day.
Yep. Man, that's encouraging. That's deep, man. And I hope everybody that's listening get that more than anything. What would you say? You played Division I basketball at Drake University. What would you say, if you were a college coach, and I know, but I want you to explain to kids and the people that may be watching, what would be the number one thing you think a college coach would look at first? Like if they went to an AAU tournament or they went to a high school game, if they're not privy to a kid, if they just walk in with their popcorn and they just sitting down, what would be some advice you would give to a kid? What would be the number one thing a kid should do?
The number one is character. You know what I'm saying? We can't understate that. Your character matters. I have to invite you into my family, into my circle, and your character goes a long way. There's no way around it. You have to have good character. I don't mean you got to be a nice guy all the time, but you got to have good character. And there's a difference. And people get those confused sometimes. You know what I'm saying? People get confused. I'm street tough and this and that, and being mentally tough. Two different things. Two totally different things. And so people think that's a part of your character, when in reality, that's a part of your immaturity. You follow what I'm saying? So that's the first thing I noticed is his character and his maturity level. I'm talking about for me. That's what I'm looking for.
Right. So you said that was a good point right there, Rod.
I'm looking for maturity.
And you made a good point right there. You said it's the difference between being street tough and being mentally tough. That is a huge difference. Elaborate a little bit on that. What do you mean by the differences on that?
So you get a lot of people who believe, when you so-called street tough, you're doing things to be accepted somewhere. You're doing street things, and I don't mean it in a negative all the sense, but when you're trying to be you're trying to be this street tough guy, you're trying to fight people, you're trying to intimidate, and a lot of that has to do with fear. You're afraid of who you are, so now you're pretending to be somebody you're not. Okay? Now, a mentally tough person, he'll tell you what he's about, what he is, what he can do, what he can't do, and it's okay. But that doesn't mean he ain't going to work hard. He's going to back down. That don't make him a coward. See, a coward is always in pretend mode. He's on the street. He's trying to act just. I come from Chicago just like you come from Chicago.
Right.
And we learn real quick, and that's a disadvantage for Fort Wayne. We learn real quick the difference between, hey, this is a real, street guy, and this is the guy pretending. We learn real quick. So here it's tough to kind of differentiate between the two. So you got a lot of guys who want to be that lifestyle, but they're not really that. So they try to bring that to the basketball court, but in reality, sooner or later, your character is going to be revealed in what you really stand for. We down by 4 and there's 10 seconds left. A street guy may decide, I'm gonna push you, I'm gonna fight you, I'm gonna do this in order to get it. Whereas a mentally tough kid will go, hey, we can foul them right away, coach, and still they're going to miss it, and we're going to make the three and win the game.
Yep.
You know, it's two different things. It's two totally different things. And for some reason, you get kids and you get parents who get confused sometimes where they teaching kids to be street tough, but it doesn't really correlate to being mentally tough. And so, you know, the first thing I would do, like I said before, would be I would be focusing on the character. Second thing, you got to be competitive to be around me. You got to want to win at everything. I'm talking drills. I want to be the best at the sprints. I want to be the best in the shooting. I want to be the best in practice. I want to beat you and dominate you at everything. You know, I was just telling somebody I started playing golf 2 months ago. And yesterday I played 27 holes because by nature, I'm ultra competitive. So I'll go and hit that ball all day if I had to in order to be competitive with the people that I go play with. It's just in my nature to be that way. So I need competitive people, okay? Super competitive people. And thirdly, I need athletes. Let's keep it simple now. Don't no coach want to turn down an athlete. So if I got a kid who, and I'm there to see him, and he's touching the top of the square, you know what I'm saying? Well, he can shoot or handle that ball, and he's quick and he's fast. He's mature. He's, you know what I mean? He's got good character. Man, he's got a chance of getting an offer from me because everything else I can teach you. Everything else I can show you how to pump fake. I can show you how to do a lot of different things. But those three things, that's your responsibility. You have to walk in the door with them. For me, I'm saying, for me. And a lot of people get, you know, Kara Lawson just gave a great example. People confuse hard work with competitiveness. You better work hard. That's the only way you're going to ever get noticed, but that don't mean you're competitive.
Big difference.
And so that's what I look for when I look at a kid. Even when I'm looking at kids who come into my program, you know, does he have good character? Is he competitive? You know what I'm saying? Is he ultra competitive? And is he athletic? Those are the first three things I look at. And then the final thing, and I think everybody talked about it, is he has a willingness to be a team player. You know, does he want to be a part of this family? You know, and so that's one of the things that I've stood on at Northrop is to focus on the kids who want to come play for me more so than the ones I want to come play. You know, and so, you know, I see situations in Fort Wayne where people send their kids to different schools because they went to that school or whatever the situation may be. I try not to worry about that. I just focus on the kids from my feeder program, and the ones that come, I try to make them the best kids that they can be. If they come in as a freshman and they can't shoot, you go look at my kids. By the time they get done, they can handle the ball and they can shoot. That to me is a compliment to your program. That's when you're doing it right. That's how I look at it.
And so that's just a great point. That's a wonderful point. So talk to me a little bit too, Coach, about the importance of grades, the importance of academics, and you already talked a little bit about the character. So let's talk a little bit about the academics, man. I know at Northrop we have study tables, we have different things that we try to provide for our athletes so that they can make it and get to the best possible position academically. So talk to me a little bit about the academic side. What does that fit in where we are?
You know, it's funny to me because I see people constantly say, hey, I'm going to send my kids to this school for the academics, or I'm going to go to that school for the academic. And I go, you know, does your kid know that? You know what I mean? No matter where he goes, he's got to apply himself. No matter where you go. When you get to college, you got to apply yourself. It doesn't, if I send you to Harvard or Duke or Indiana Tech, it don't matter where I send you. You gotta apply yourself. And so at Northrop, what we try to find, we don't give no grades. You know what I mean? I mean, if you got an F or a D, you can't play. Now, I get a lot of parents who don't want to send their kids to Northrop because I'm gonna say he can't play for me with a D or an F. Why would I reward him on the court? He's not doing it in the school. We got counselors. We got study tables. We got teachers who are willing to sit down and talk to kids and explain, you know, what they need to do in order to get their grades And you know, one thing I stood on is if a kid has homework or some work he needs to do in school, he can miss practice, and I'm not gonna hold that against him if it's school related. I mean, I can't be a high school coach and I'm focused on just the wins and losses. If that was the case, I would go get a different type of kid. You know what I'm saying? I might as well go to the college level, you know. But in the high school level, I'm really focused on these kids need these grades, not just for basketball. They need these grades for life. These are marks that indicate that this kid can overcome certain subject and certain material. So if he can't do it in a classroom and nobody holds him accountable, and he gets to just go out and run and play, that's what little kids do.
Yep.
So we pride ourselves on raising young men.
You muted, Rod.
Okay.
There you go.
To do the best you can do.
You there, Rod?
Coach King.
There you go. Yep.
Yep. No, I was just saying that, you know, we owe the kids a responsibility to hold them to a standard that, hey, we here to help. I graduated from college. Every staff person on my staff, every single one has graduated from college. Not too many coaching staffs can say that. Okay. Not only that, but we also people that's from the community. Yep. And we're dads. You know, we're married men, we're dads, and we're models for our community. I try to pride myself on putting people around the kids who can influence them to make the difference, to say, I've been where you've been at. And guess what? You still got to hit your books. I hit my books.
Yep.
You can do it. What do you need me to do to help you? You know, and that's what it's really about, man. But, you know, like I said before, not being from here and people get an image of you, an idea about what your program about, never talk to you, they wouldn't know. And I see too many people who they'll take their kids to another, oh, my kid got a better opportunity over there. Man, you need to be focused on, does your kid got a better chance of getting good grades? Because when it's all said and done, I think it's 2% of high school players go on to play college basketball.
That's a fact. Yeah, that's a fact.
2%. So if we got 100 basketball players between, let's say, 4 schools or 5 schools, there's 100 basketball players. 2%, which is 2
of them are go.
is going to play college basketball.
That's a fact.
So please focus on the grades. Your son being a better person, being a person that's in the community that's going to make a difference.
Yeah, man. I mean, and I think that's the biggest thing. I know what I've signed on for. I know we not only do that. I mean, we do FAFSA. We help kids with the FAFSA, SAT sign up, ACT sign up. Like, I know academics is probably one of our biggest things that we do there at Northrop, Coach. And so I appreciate that, man. And we're going to segue. Tell me your philosophy on basketball. Like, what if I had a son and I came and talked to you and I was like, Coach, let me know what you guys do there. What do you do? What is your philosophy on it?
You know, coming from Chicago, it was funny because somebody was talking about Coach Krzyzewski from Duke. And I've been saying this for years. I hope you take it the right way. He's from Chicago, okay? Coach K is from Chicago. Do not get it misunderstood. And so what he was doing, something that we've been doing in the inner city forever. And it's funny because he's gained a lot of notoriety, and I'm not knocking. Please don't take it that way. But he's doing something, as me and you both know, we've been doing in the inner city forever, for years, running 4 guards and a big. We've been doing that forever. It ain't nothing new. You know what I'm saying? Playing up-tempo, pressing, moving, playing defense, using your athletic ability on the defensive end before you talk about it on the offensive end. And that's Northrop basketball. That's Northrop basketball. We're going to play defense. We're going to sit. We're going to lock you up. That's the bottom line. That's our philosophy. We're going to play harder than anybody, be the most competitive team in the conference every year on the defensive end. Period. We don't take it for granted. the one thing you can learn from your kid is your kid going to develop every year his offensive game? Defensively, he's going to get better. There's no question. Offensively, is he going to do the things that's going to help him become a better player? Now, me being a former point guard, and I say this to parents all the time, and I hope they take it the right way. I say, listen, if John Elway was a high school football coach and your son was a quarterback and you had a choice between sending him to Mike Dicker, who was a tight end, or John Elway to his program, who was a quarterback, which one would you pick? Well, if your son will be a quarterback, you probably want to send him where?
The quarterback.
Over to where John Elway is.
Mm-hmm.
That's the same way I look at when I talk to parents. Certain kids will probably fit our program better than they fit other programs in the city. And that's no knock on no coach, because I believe we got some great coaches in the SAC, period.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Arguably the third best conference in the state. Arguably the third best conference in the state. Okay, so you got some great coaches there. But all of our philosophies aren't the same, and how we look at players and how we develop players are not the same. And that's not knocking nobody. We're just not the same. And so what I say to parents is, if you want to press and run, if your son want to be a part of a family, he want to get better every year, maybe Northrop is for you. But if Northrop's not for you, that's okay too, because I'm going to cheer for you still. If you play for Southside or you play for Homestead, it don't make a difference to me. I don't hate on a kid because he didn't come to Northrop. I still cheer for him.
Right.
You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. My program is built on, I'm not going to guarantee you nothing. Mm-hmm. I'm not promising you nothing. You're going to have to earn it. You're going to have to go get it every year. You know, I look at Kamani Smith, who's a kid that's been in my program. This is his 4th year. And you can call him up right now and say, has Coach ever promised you anything? He'll say, no. Coach make me earn it every day. Because I want somebody to outplay him. I want somebody to go get it. So guess what he has to do every day? He has to bring it every day. Now every parent don't want that. A lot of parents want their kids to go to college, but they really don't want them to go to college. You know what I mean by that, Coach? They sound good in theory, but they want it handed to them. You know what I mean? Like, I just want my son I want it handed to him. It don't work that way.
In life,
you have to go. That's to go get it. You got to go get it every day, because in college, because I'm still waiting to meet the college coach that go, hey, it's okay if your son don't go hard every day. It's okay if your son don't really bring it. I just want him on my program. I ain't met that college coach.
That never works out that way. And I think one of the things that I knew drew me to Northrop was the fact that I've literally been there. This is my 4th year now, and I'm literally been there, and I can honestly say, and I tell everybody this I run into, that there is no bias at all. And like, if you can play and you have, man, every practice you bring it, you're gonna play. Like, you're gonna jump off. Like, there is no bias. There is no, hey, this kid's entitled. Hey, like, nope, because I've seen you sit some of the best players, like one of our highly rated players, Sidney Curry, and who just got offered by Kansas and Florida and all these big schools. I watched you sit him out games, and I watched you sit him down and say, hey, you're not bringing it right now. You tripping. Have a seat. And I think that resonates with the rest of the kids, because it's like, if you're willing to treat your best player like that, then who am I as the 12th guy? You know, like, it makes everybody go hard. It makes everybody raise their level. And that's one thing I know I appreciate you for. Like, I tell every kid that's at Northrop, and I'm like, that's going out for the team. I was like, man, there is no bias. I mean, I've seen him, a junior that once started. He's a senior and he don't start because the kid outplayed him and outworked him. And I tell kids all the time, you got to appreciate something like that. So,
you know, you take Sid Curry, who I hang out with when he came home recently. First thing he says, man, thank you. You know, kids usually, let me explain something to you, man. And this is the part that I think, and I'm being a parent. I've been a parent in this situation.
Right.
Okay. And I've dealt, like I said, almost 30 years now. Kids like discipline.
Yep.
They don't mind being held to a standard. they don't mind working hard for. They don't.
Mm-hmm.
They really don't. They prefer you be on them. Hey, you're not doing something right. You're going to have to go get it, or you probably won't make this team. The kids don't mind it.
Right.
The kids, the one with high character, the ones that are athletic and competitive, they don't mind. It's the parents who feel like, I should be privy to this. My kid should automatically get this. Those are the ones who had the most difficult time with programs that are successful. And it doesn't matter if it's Northrop, if it's Beasley over at Carroll, or Johnson over at Homestead, or whomever. It doesn't matter. You can go on down the list, to a successful program every year. I'm sure Parker over at Homestead will tell you the same thing. These are programs that are successful every year over the years, holding people to a standard, not promising anything, and making people go get it. The kids, it helps them in the long run. You're going to produce more top layer players than schools that don't have any standards. They just let the kids cuss the coach out, let the parents tell the coach who we going to play, control the narrative, tell you what they're going to do.
Yep.
I mean, parents just know right away, you're just not going to do that. You're not going to run my program. Your kid going to have to go get it every day, and I cut him. His senior year, he could have started for me his junior year. If a freshman comes in and he's better, man, job is his. Best man get the job. Your son better work hard. He better get in the weight room. He better do everything possible to be the best player he can be. And then he still better be a good teammate. You follow what I'm saying? So there's certain levels of standards that we hold our kids to. And most parents don't want that. They think that, well, if I put him at this school, they ain't got this many players. And so not understanding, if your son don't want to compete, he's not going to make it.
That's a fact.
You know what I'm saying? I don't care what school. The good programs, you have to compete.
Yeah.
I mean, I was just watching Kentucky last year, and if I'm not mistaken, and I know you follow them closely, they got 7, 8, and 8. They got the kid Keon Brooks Jr., who is an awesome character, awesome kid. You know what I mean? He could have went to another school and guess what? Probably would have played almost most of the game.
Yep, 30, 35 minutes,
5 minutes. But he went to Kentucky. He understood they was going to hold him to a certain standard. And guess what? I see that kid now, and he looks so much stronger. He looked mentally like he about to go tear the SEC up, I mean, this kid is starting to act like a man.
Yep.
So that way, not only on the court will he understand he's got to get out there and get it, off the court he'll understand that. And so that's something I can look at and go, that's a tribute to Calipari and his coaching staff and the environment that he puts you in. Because he don't just say, I'm going to recruit one All-American. No.
Nope.
Calipari go out and get 6 or 7 All-Americans and may the best man win. And then, God forbid, some of them don't go to the league and they stay another year. Guess what you got to do? You got to compete with him.
Yep.
You got to fight for your job. And
I mean,
and so
he reminds me
that to me is what I've always tried to.
Right.
It didn't take Calipari to do it. That's the way it was at my high school. So.
Well, yeah, I think that's the.
You had to fight for yours. You had to go get it.
And I think that's the best thing about you, man. Like I said, I've known Sidney Curry since he was 5th, 6th grade. And I watched him, even his high school career, he go through these ups and downs. And I tell people to this day, man, once he came into Northrop and he started to mature a little bit, man, stuff changed for him. And I told him it was because, number one, he matured and he got better, but he was held to that standard that, hey, you can't be late for practice. You can't. And I'm not talking about no other programs. I'm just saying at ours. Like, you can't be late to practice. You got to do this a certain way. Elaborate on that, Coach. Talk to me about that. Like,
here's another piece for you, Coach, that I'm glad you put this on the podcast. You go count how many kids from Northrop are still playing basketball right now, college or prep. I'm a probably say, I bet you my numbers is up there with some of the higher programs, not
No
only
question.
in the city, but in the state.
Yeah, no question.
I guarantee you that. And that's not, like I said, I don't want nobody to take it like I'm bragging on me. No, I don't need no credit. I'm too old to get credit. Everything I do is about passing it on right now. You follow what I'm saying?
Yep.
It's a tribute to the environment that we're trying to make at Northrop, to say that the kids that we deal with understand they got to go get it.
Yep.
They don't mind it if you at least care, you show them how to do it, you support them, okay? Man, guess what? They'll go get it. And so when they get to college, when my kids get to college, you know, Richard Robertson said it best to me one time. You know, the coach was yelling and screaming and was going off, and he's looked at the coach and said, "This ain't nothing new to me."
Right. Right.
You're gonna have to compete for the playing time. And Richard said, "Hey, I've been competing since, I was competing back in high school. This is nothing new to me. I'm used to this."
Yep.
And the kid he was competing against, guess what? He had been handed everything. He wasn't used to fighting for everything. He wasn't used to have to run hard in the sprints. He wasn't used to have to compete in every drill because it was handed to him. So when it came time for him to go to college and compete, guess what? Richard ended up starting his freshman year.
Yep. Yep.
And taking that kid's job because guess what? He was used to compete every day.
Yep.
And that's what we try to breed over there.
Yes, man. And I mean, I definitely, obviously, Rich was one of the kids I've known forever too, and watch his development there. I just know, when people leave our program, they're developed. I know they're ready for competition at the college level, especially when you're talking about playing hard, getting after it, diving on the floors, all the loose ball stuff, man. So that stuff resonates across the board, man. I just was telling kids today as I was coaching, I was telling them, listen, man, whatever college y'all decide to go, whoever offering y'all, when y'all come in, 9 times out of 10, you are not the man. The only way you're going to get on that floor is by doing those things, going hard, playing hard, running hard. And that's the first thing I know we teach the kids. Like, that's the greatest compliment. I tell kids all the time, the greatest compliment I always get is about my team, that they're going to play hard. They're going to play as hard as they possibly can. And I know it's the same way at Northrop. I haven't met a high school coach. We ran into it like, man, them kids play hard, man. Like, them kids play very, very hard. So that's a compliment, man. But I think that's just the basketball, like you said, is competition. And I think that gets left out sometimes when you're dealing with certain people. It's like they forget that this ain't no hand. That's what basketball is. It's competition. You got to compete.
Let me throw one at you, Coach. Let me throw one piece at you, and this is something that you could probably bring up in another podcast to somebody or something. Here's the dilemma that we deal with right now with parents and players. Mm-hmm. Sometimes the parents aren't as competitive as the kid, and then sometimes the kid is not as competitive as the parents. So you follow what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
So this parent is screaming and yelling, why my son ain't playing, why my son this and that, not realizing your son is not what? He's not competitive.
Mm-hmm. And that's
he goes
big.
to the workout, you pay that money, he goes and shoot and do all those things. But in reality, guess what? He's not a competitor.
Right.
He just wants to play basketball.
Yep.
Follow what I'm saying?
Oh, man, I know. I know.
And
exactly.
So what ended up, yeah. So the parents who believe he goes to the gym himself, or he got a trainer, and he uses it on film. But in reality, in his heart, he's not a competitor.
Man.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, man.
That's where the situation falls off. And then you get parents who want to, blame the coach. You can't blame the coach if your son not competitive.
Yeah.
He's not competitive, you're not competitive.
Oh, man. I mean, one of my sayings is I tell kids all the time, like, it's different between do you love to play or do you like to play? It's two totally different things. Man. Like, you got to love this game. Like I tell kids all the time, no, you don't understand. Like, you guys like to play. No. You have to live this game. This game has to be something that you're constantly working at, constantly watching, constantly around. Like you're sick if you're not around it. You got to want to hoop. You got to want to. Like I tell kids all the time, man, one of the greatest things I was told by somebody, you can't teach effort. Like you can't teach that. That's something that you have to have in you, that you got to want to compete. You got to want to be the best at everything. You know, like you said, that's one of the environments I love about our environments, because we tell kids all the time, no. I don't care if y'all walking to get something to drink. Be first. You know, like compete at everything. Compete, man. And then, you know, you compete, best man win, and then y'all come together as family and you help each other and you continuously help that person compete. You know, and like that's how you ultimately win, man. So I love that about it. Competition.
There's no worse showing to me, and I know you, man. Probably any coach that see can tell you this. When two competitors go to war with each other and they competing against each other, and one of them fall and the other one reaches down to help him up, even though they just went to war with each other.
Yep.
To me, that's my type of kid.
Yep.
That's my type of player. I love sportsmanship. You follow what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna play hard against you. I'm gonna knock you down. You're gonna knock me down. You're gonna look at me. I'm gonna look at you, and then we're gonna laugh and we're gonna go. You're gonna have to knock me down again.
Yep.
Listen to me. That's practice in college. Listen to what I just told you. That's practice in college. The guy that you competing against every day that's in the drills, he doesn't get minutes. So he's going to come after you. So you better believe I'm going at him. I'm knocking him down, and we going to war. And if you fall down or something, I help him up. I say, you're going to have to try harder, man. Oh, I'm not going to step down. Every time you come to me, I'm going to beat you at this. I'm going to beat you at every sprint.
Right.
But guess what? That's my teammate. And so if you're not mentally tough, you'll get it confused with something else, and then you want to fight. But in reality, it's not that moment.
Yep.
That's because you're not mentally tough. Now you're going to try to do some street tough stuff. That's why I was telling you, that's why character plays such a big part. Because I need kids who just compete because that's just the way they made. They just wired that way. You know what I'm saying? So that's what we try to do at Northrop. We try to surround ourselves with, and fortunately, I got a group now that I feel like is a group that, one, they like to compete. Two, they love each other. Oh my goodness. I've never had a team, and like, you know what I'm saying? People say, oh, what does it mean on wins and losses? I don't know, but I tell you, I like coaching them. I like going to practice every day. You know, they on the group chat. You know what I mean? You can say we having a group chat meeting, and you got 20 people on there. We couldn't have done that. We couldn't have done that 3-4 years ago. You know, now we probably have more talent, but we definitely didn't have the type of camaraderie we got now from this group here. And so I'm excited because I think we got the type of kids right now who are like, I bleed orange and brown. I love Northrop. I'm down with Coach Rod and the coaching staff. Man, win or lose, man, we together. Let's go get it. You know, because you don't lose when you got that type of environment, because you always saying, well, next time we just got to do this better. And you keep it moving. It ain't personal.
No, man, Coach, I definitely understand where you're coming from, and I definitely appreciate the time this evening. Before we go, anything else you want to say to the people, anything else you want to talk about? Like, I appreciate the time for sure.
Yeah, you know, Jerome, I just want to say, man, just thank you for what you're doing, man. Everything you're doing is to help. And I don't know if people really understand that. You know what I mean, man? I mean, really deep down, you know what I mean? You know, we feel fortunate to have you on our staff. I mean, you know what I'm saying? I mean, coaches, you got a lot of jealous coaches out there go, oh, you got Jerome, you going to get, you know, Jerome know everybody, you know. But they don't understand how much you do for kids. And I've seen you do for kids when kids don't have nothing. You know what I mean? You was more of a father figure than their own parents, and you was at events that had nothing to do with basketball. Nothing to do with basketball. Here you are, you right there cheering this kid on, and he can go to Homestead, or he can go to Carroll, he can go to, it don't matter if he's down in Indy. If you hear about a kid doing good, man, you an ambassador, man. And so, man, we need you to keep doing what you're doing there, because it really gives us coaches an opportunity to see that, you know what, that was us at one point. what you're doing, that was me years ago.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
I
And so
believe
it said, man, I'm glad to see you out there helping so many kids, man. And it's our job as head coaches to get you the resources so you can be successful helping kids. Because, you know, anytime coaches start thinking it's about them and it's about my son, you got the wrong head coach there.
Right.
You know, so I give all the glory to the man upstairs and my
Yep.
family, and I got a super coaching staff, and and I love the kids, and I feel like I win every day because I surround myself with people like yourself who actually care about the community.
I definitely appreciate
actually
that,
care
Rod.
about teaching.
I definitely appreciate
So,
that, man.
like I said, man, whatever we can do from Northrop to whatever, man, please let me know, man, and keep me in check to what's going on, because I know it's time you go, Rod, this is an event going on, and it could be a 3-on-3 going on somewhere, man. I don't know what you're talking about.
Right.
Coach, you need to be there. One of your players is playing. You need to go, And so it's like, okay, I love the fact that you always, your focus primarily is about the kids.
Absolutely, man. And I appreciate that, Rod. And like I said, man, thanks for coming on. Thanks for sharing the vision. Definitely gonna get it out, and just to help kids and help kids in any way we can, man. So I appreciate you again, Rod.
All right, my friend. Hey, thanks again. You have a great night, okay?
All right, man. You too.